Hello, good evening and welcome to my humble model railway. It's Saturday night. Probably might not get this video out tonight, considering how long it takes to render a video and everything else and upload it to YouTube. But tonight we're going to be looking at a new locomotive to my layout, and it's going round the track as we speak now. So we're going to talk about her a little bit, and then we're going to do a little bit of a review and an overview of her once we've watched her go round this. So I'll do this in a slightly different order than I did in my previous review for the W4. Now this is the Hornby steam locomotive Peckett B2, and is a Bristol Docks Peckett B2 Henry number 1264. Now this particular locomotive's got a special place for me on my layout, because my grandfather, or one of my grandfathers, actually worked at the Bristol docks, or near the Bristol docks in Avonmouth, and he actually works in the local smelting works. Okay, so when I saw this appear, sort of Port of Bristol Authority, Henry, it was a locomotive which I just absolutely had to have. Okay, now Peckett, as I've mentioned in a previous review with the W4, was a Bristol locomotive works, and I think it was based near Kingswood in Bristol, and it actually built locomotives up to around about the late 1950s. In fact, that was the time then when the demand for these kind of locomotives had begun to tail off a little. But the Peckett Locomotive Company was a very successive locomotive building company in Bristol for many years. Now the locomotive you see going around here tonight is different in many ways from the W4 locomotive, in that it's much bigger. Okay, it's also an 060 locomotive rather than the 040, which the W4 was. Now I'm going to also, while this is going around, talk a little bit about my layout and why we're doing this a bit late. So I'm doing this at more or less 25 to 11 on a Saturday night. Okay, safely going out to the pub, I guess. But anyway, now this particular one, I've been having trouble with the track for some time on this particular layout, and it's to do with the points which are just over on the far side of the layout. In fact, we'll just swivel over around and we'll just have a look now, and we can watch Henry go round over these points in a moment. And certainly on the sidings here, there's a kind of a right hand point and then followed by a left hand point. I've been having a number of derailments on this particular part of the layout, and I think that's what actually finish off my Oxford Rail Dean goods, a derailment on that particular point there. So what I've done is I've ordered some new points to actually replace those 2 points over there. So what we're going to do is going to get rid of a lot of the clunkiness which have occurred on this point over here. Okay, so that's going to be an update on there. And now coming back to the actual locomotive itself, which we can see going round, Peckett 1264 Henry was built in 1913 and ordered by the Bristol Corporation Docks Committee for use across the 60 miles of track serving Avonmouth and Royal Edward Docks Railway System. The Bristol Corporation Docks Committee, later to be referred to as the Port of Bristol Authority, maintained its own fleet of shunting locomotives to move freight and passenger trains about, and the locomotives worked hard to the extent that in 1947 the port engineer reported that there was a gross overloading of all the port's locomotives, sometimes working trains of 30 oil tank wagons around the small radius curves of the docks railway system. By March 1957, Henry was worked out, having been replaced by newer diesel shunters, and was sold for scrap. So sadly this one went in 1957. 1957 was the year I was actually born, believe it or not. You can see Henry go round. What a magnificent locomotive, and what a shame it was never preserved. Now what I'm going to do is we'll have a little look at her in a minute. Now you can see how she's running here, okay, and we'll see as she's going round. Now, bear in mind that the points which you'll be seeing the locomotive going over in just a few moments are not ideal. Okay. Now, I've tried this locomotive over these set of Hornby points, which are over here on this particular part. I mean, that's basically two right-hand points creating this junction here. Okay. And this locomotive went over these points without any problems whatsoever. Okay. But going over these points here, a certain amount of clunkiness, and in fact I did suffer from a couple of derailments until I made some adjustment to the actual track over here. And even though it's not ideal, I think the locomotive should be able to go over it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to send it up the points and back again. You can see how it performs on points, and then last but not least, what we'll do is we'll have a look at her on the Lazy Susan for a nice 360 degree all-round view. Okay, but we'll just see how we can change the points. And it's pulling a train of just two wagons, obviously the low loader there, Western Region of British Rail, and also a siphon H. And I think they were used for transporting fruit and food. I think the siphons. Okay, so and I think milk as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to send this locomotive round this particular set of points, and you'll see it will handle pico points, but not in an ideal way. You heard it clunk there. Bit of a clunk as it went over that point, and in fact it was quite troublesome going over there. It will go over points very, very well, but obviously you can see there, not an ideal situation. So but very, very nice runner, this one. Now I think as with the this other small locomotive, the actual W4, which I've got on the layout as well tonight, which you saw, but that was a centenary edition. In my opinion, Hornby have poured out all the stops for these locomotives. I mean, that's my particular opinion. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to reverse her out, and then we'll watch her go around the track a few more times, and I'm going to bring her out onto the Lazy Susan. Now, you saw this one go into the goods shed over there, and we'll see how it all reverses out. So let's have a look now. Yep, that's fine. We're just going to reverse her out. There we are. So we're out of our sidings now. Now with these particular locomotives, I mean, I kind of hesitated in a way, because I thought, well, these are very, very small saddle tank locomotives, and you know, I mean, for not an awful lot much more money, you could buy a large tender engine. I know I bought the King. I know the King was second hand, was about £120 I paid for it. I think about £150, £160 the King's. This one came in at just over 100 for me. I mean, some people might be able to have got it for less, but this was from a trader I dealt with before, and so I bought it, and I thought, well, I'll get it because it was our last one. Okay, I didn't want to be caught out by this locomotive actually selling out, and then me suddenly finding it's not available. Okay, so we can imagine this particular locomotive may be being used by the Port of Bristol Authority, Avonmouth in the Royal Edward Docks. Like I said in the description, it would have been pulling freight wagons around and passenger wagons for the Port of Bristol Authority, and they were and obviously they, from the description, they were very, very overworked, let's say. Port of Bristol Authority Henry is going to be pulling over in, close to the just past the signal box in just a moment, and we're going to uncouple her in just a moment. I'm going to put her onto the Lazy Susan, change the actual tripod, change the angle, then we can have a nice closer look at her. Now, what I've done to actually make these locomotives stand out a bit more, and that is all that is on the Lazy Susan, is a piece of A4 paper kind of cut to shape. So I thought, well, it'd make the locomotives stand out more against the black background. Okay, so what we're going to do then, we'll just uncouple our lovely Port of Bristol Authority Henry. Doesn't want to come unhooked. Okay. There we are. We've unhooked it now. The dangers of live videos, eh? There we go. So we'll just pop that right in the centre. We've only just brought this Lazy Susan into use quite recently, so for those of you who have not seen one before, it's just basically a turntable, and they're generally used for household use, for like with turning cakes and things. But for someone like us, a railway modeller, wanting to show off their locomotives, you can actually get a nice 360 view without clonking the model around. I mean, it certainly makes it easier to show all the different aspects of a tender engine. But there we are, there's Port of Bristol Authority Henry there. What a lovely locomotive. Okay, outside cylinders, 060 saddle tank locomotive. That's a side profile there. You've got the Peckett maker's plate there just on the front of the cab there. Lovely lining on it as well. But we see if we can zoom in a bit more. Oh, there we are, that's more like it. So you can see the Henry there. Clearly see the 060 wheel arrangement. You can see the coupling rods are picked out in red. And that's quite nice really, along with the red buffers and everything else. You can see the copper chimney there. And also the brass, imagine that safety valve covers there. The whistle on top of the cab as well. Okay, let's try and get focus back in. We're getting some focusing issues here at the moment with this particular camera. There we are, that's a little bit better. Now here's the front view we got of her. The front is largely in black, so it's hard to be able to see a lot of the detail on there. What I want to determine first of all, because I've not actually checked. Yes, I've got a separately fitted smoke box darts on it. Just about to see that. Maybe you might be able to see that from the side there. Just about see it actually. There. Nice lot of detail on the buffer as well. You've got the usual kind of a hook in the middle. We'll just see if it's got sprung buffers. Now the W4 tank didn't have sprung buffers, and this one hasn't either. Okay, I've got to be perfectly honest with you. Sprung buffers, I mean, a lot of people say it's a sign of a premium built model, but really, for the majority of us, if we're going to be running these round on a normal layout, really sprung buffers isn't too much of a must. I mean, they're nice to have, I think. They're nice to have. Got lampars on the front there as well. Very, very nice. You've got a buffer there, red buffer beam. Turning around. Again, you've got Henry there. Very, very nice. Pretty nice. I think we'll see down there, I think possibly that picks out down red there is possibly the reversing rod, I would guess. Nice lot of detail underneath the boiler as well. Wheels nicely picked out in green as well. As I think this lovely locomotive was actually scrapped in 1957. What a shame. Okay, so let's bring it around a little bit more now. We can probably see just about inside there the cab detail. A little bit difficult to pick that out from here. Obviously with an enclosed cab like that, the difficulty is getting enough light in there to be able to see what's inside the cab. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and fetch a torch and see if I can see if the torch is working, if I can get enough light in there for the torch. Let's take a look now. Okay, it might do it. Let's have a look. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you can see it now. Beautiful. Beautiful cab on this locomotive. Lovely details on there, all picked out. There's a certain view from the cab on the other side. Really nice. Nice little coal load on the back as well. We can just about see. If we raise the camera up a little bit, we'll be able to see a little bit better. Again, it's got the lovely round windows on it as well. Fully glazed cab there as well. I do believe the the front is fully glazed on the front as well. Again, the lovely lining on it. And of course this one's called Henry. It's not as a result of the Thomas the Tank Engine series or anything like that, but it's called Henry because that's the name it was given by the Port of Bristol authority. And it looks like that this particular locomotive was actually finally withdrawn and scrapped by the Port of Bristol authority at a time when the Peckett Locomotive Company was going to be beginning to come down. I think it was bought out by another company, and then that company that bought it out went bust. So I think it closed in about 1960, this particular locomotive builders, which is a shame actually, because it's part of our, part of our local, for Bristol, for me being a Bristolian, it's part of my local railway heritage, local engineering heritage. Absolutely gorgeous. You can see under the boiler there. Again, yeah, you've got lovely detail underneath the boiler there. Picked out. Very, very, very nice. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put her back onto the track again in just a few moments. And we'll watch her go around for a little while longer. And then we'll talk about some of maybe my future plans. This is a relatively short video. Obviously, I'll give you another nice 360 turnaround on there. Now, the London Palladium used to have a revolving stage, a bit of an unrelated fact, apart from we've got a revolving stage here. And this is Saturday night at the London Palladium, starring Peckett B2 Henry. Wonderful, look at that. Okay, now let's go up a little bit and have a look at the coal load, shall we? Sorry about the wonkiness in the camera there. I'm going to go right up now so we can see it from above. You can see the coal load there. Now, personally, I like a nice shiny coal load, okay? That to me represents the coal that's maybe has been dampened down with the hose. What they used to do was dampen down the coal with a hose pipe just to stop a lot of the dust from escaping from the coal. Okay, so we can imagine it's got a full load of coal and it's ready to do its daily duties. Gives you a different aspect, slightly from above as well. See the detail there by the chimney as well. Wonderful. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put her back on the tracks and watch her run around for a little bit more. And I'm going to try to make this video less than half an hour tonight. Really, obviously, I wouldn't want to keep you too long on this particular video. And also, the longer the video I make on it, it takes much longer to render on my computer. So, if I were to put this on here now and edit it and render it, so I should imagine it's going to be at least a couple of hours. And it's now coming up to 11 o'clock, so it's going to be 1 o'clock in the morning before it's actually been rendered. And probably what I'll do is I'll get it set. You can set it to switch the computer off when it finishes rendering. And I'll have to upload it to YouTube tomorrow morning. Okay, so you might see this on Sunday, on either Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, depending on what I've got to do tomorrow. Okay, so let's have a look now. Let's see if we can get this one back on the tracks. We'll see if we can do it without the railing ramp. Straight on, I think. Perfect. We'll just move the turntable away now. Now, I do not know why that turntable has actually been called a Lazy Susan. Obviously, no offence to anyone called Susan who might be watching this who've got a loved one called Susan. Okay, I don't know why it's called that. It's just a name that I've personally given to it. So, let's watch her go around now. I'm going to follow it around the track a little bit more. We're zoomed in quite a lot now, so we might suffer from one or two focusing issues as well, but we'll try our best. There we go. I think that's fast enough for it. You can watch her go through to our country station over there, and the train that's on the in the goods shed up there, that's got the Great Western Brakeman on the back. That's the W4 Peckett, so we've got both of our Peckett's locomotives out tonight. Very, very nice runner. I run this one in the other night as well. By giving it a half an hour in each direction. And really, again, one of the locomotives that just ran perfectly well out of the box. A couple of things I'd like to mention about it too, which I probably forgot to mention, and you might be asking about, is what about the weight of the locomotive? Because obviously with a locomotive this size, it might be a concern about what kind of loads it could pull. Well, again, I think it's a mainly die-cast construction. It's quite heavy, and I should imagine it's capable of pulling quite a heavy load for shunting. Now, some of you may have especially those of you with end-to-end layouts, probably with more shunting activity, a locomotive like this will be absolutely ideal, absolutely perfect. She comes just past the signal box there. Absolutely gorgeous. And we'll have a little look at the train that is actually pulling, okay? Because I think we've got the we've got the Oxford Rail 6-wheel brake van on today or tonight. Then we've got the Siphon H, okay, and then we've got the other kind of low loader there going around the track as well. Yes, so what we can do is we can actually get an accurate description of what we're pulling as well. I think that's quite handy to know. Now we've got the Siphon H, which is the big brown wagon there. That's a British Rail Siphon H. I think they're used for putting food in for milk churns and things. That's an Airfix model. Okay, so quite old. Precision made by Airfix. Try and get focus on there. Siphon H, okay, it says Great Modern Railways, which is actually Airfix. A 45-ton bogie well wagon in BR grey. That was from Bachmann. You can see that the details on there of that. In case you want to look out for one. That's a bogie well wagon. Very nice wagon that actually. And then we've got our Oxford Rail brake van. Great Western Railway tow brake van, 6 wheel plated late Bridport. We'll get to focus on that, won't be able to. There we go, so that's fine, you can see what that one's all about. Okay, just in case you want to look out for this. Oh, and for those of you interested, I mean this is, the actual locomotive itself came with the standard Hornby block of ice packaging, and that's what the actual outside of the box looks like. I'm just going to zoom out a little for this. There we are, so that's what the actual, you've got a lovely representation of Henry there. Bristol Docks Peckett B2 Henry, number 1264. And on the back, again you've got the usual description of the actual model, about the Peckett Locomotive Company. And in fact that's where I got the information from about the locomotive on the back of there. About it being used at the Bristol docks. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap things up, okay, and I'm going to try and get this video actually edited and rendered. Any comments or questions, obviously put those in the comments section. Try and keep everything polite, okay, and if you like the video, press like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that bell, and you'll be able to see future videos in my little series here. I'm going to be doing some videos between now and Christmas of various subjects. Once I've actually thought of what I've actually going to be talking about. I don't know if I'm going to be buying many locomotives between now and Christmas. But what we can possibly do is revisit some of the ones we've already looked at in the past. Especially now that we've got the turntable, which we can give you a good 360 view on. Okay. So what I'll say now is thank you very much for your interest, and thank you very much for watching, and I shall bid you farewell and good night.